Hello. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. How are we doing? How are we doing today? Welcome back to... What are we doing? We're painting. We are still painting. It never ends. UK Games Expo is what, like 2 weeks away now, I think? Yeah, just over 2 weeks. So we're going to get this warband finished, I hope. Good evening, Jungle Camper. How you doing? Welcome. Right, so... Let's go with what we did. Well, what did we do last time? Last time we did this boy, this big boy here, thumbnail of the week. He came out real cool. That's awesome. I want to finish his base. I think that might be one of the first things I do today is finish his base, get him actually done. I was working on some color schemes for pinks. This is kind of what I came up with. I kind of like it, so we're going to do that. We're going to do the other pink horror, I think. I came up with a color scheme for blues. There he is, look at him. He's a handsome little boy. Yeah, so we came up with the color scheme for blues. We're going to finish the blues. So I've got like 4 finished blues here. I've got 2 more blues that I need to do. I got 1 pink. There's Ephelim sitting over here. I've basically got like our base coat of blue on her, and I've done some skin. The skin's real simple. It's just like a grey tone over the blue, so I need to do highlighting on that. And we got the brimstones. So what are we going to do first? I think the answer... Is this all dry? It's all dry. Good. I think the answer first is to dry brush the brimstone horrors because they need highlighting. And I reckon the way that I'm basically going to paint them, because I'm kind of lazy and I'm running out of time, is to use washes and then do spot highlights. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. For anyone who is new here, welcome to my painting stream where I paint stuff and I chat about Warcry. If you have any questions about Warcry, about hobby, about whatever, I've been around Games Workshop for a long time, you can ask, I'm happy to answer. If not, I'm just going to ramble away and it'll either be great entertainment or it will be terrible. But let's get going. Okay, so we are going to do Brimstone Horrors. So I guess what we're going to do is basically just dry brush these, right? You dry brush them white, and we're going to do like, it's going to be basically slab chop is kind of what we're doing. But I like to put a couple more layers into it. Supreme Travi, any Warcry news I need? Nope, no Warcry news for the time being. In fact, no, there is Warcry news. Not directly from Games Workshop because, you know, Games Workshop has no news at the moment. We are still waiting for, or I'm still waiting to see if there's going to be a balance update, which is a little bit late, but hopefully, you know what? Hopefully it will come. I have faith in them that it will actually come, even if there is no new product. But I found out yesterday, so I was looking at, we were doing a stream, not a stream, what were we doing? A podcast. Me, Toast, and Demetrios were doing a podcast. And we were talking about the different events that had run and about how Warcry event participation is up, basically. And it is, because the events keep getting bigger and bigger. More and more people keep going, and that's great, right? From a game health perspective, people are going to events, people want to play. And I learned, so I knew that there was an event at Adepticon, and that event was like 32 players, I think. What I didn't know, I knew there was a narrative event at Adepticon. What I didn't know is that thing was 64 players. And if that was advertised to people, it was 64 players. I never heard the advertisement about it. Oh no, there's some flash on this model. I never heard the advertisement about it. I didn't see any coverage of it. And I think, that would have been really cool, right? Because 64 players in a third-party event is kind of a big deal. And we know that Warcry has a big narrative player base. But it was just kind of not advertised. There were 64 players who turned up at Adepticon. And that was kind kind of weird for me. So yeah, if anyone went to that and wants to do like, I want to see how it went. I want to see what the narrative campaign was like, what the story arc was. That'd be really cool. That's something I want to see, and that's something probably that other people want to see as well. So that's my thing, my news kind of, but not really. From Adepticon. Right, Supreme Traveler. I just finished the Nighthaunt Warband, my first Warhammer minis. Oh, excellent! My Nighthaunt are one of my first loves. I have a very sizable Nighthaunt army, in fact. I don't know if you've put together any Spirit Hosts. If you have, I am sorry for you. For them being some of your first Warhammer miniatures to build, because Spirit Hosts are famously, they are not an easy set. Let's put it that way. They are one of the most complicated sets I've ever had to put together. But on the upside, once they're together, painting Nighthaunt is a blast, right? If you want to mess around with an airbrush, they lean really well into airbrushing. If you want to just do like basic layers, they do really well into basic layers. Like Nighthaunt are some of the best models to paint, and they're some of the best models the Games Workshop does. You had an ad. You shouldn't have an ad. You should not have an ad. Let me see what's going on. Yes. Okay, that should fix things. Okay, because I don't like to do ads on the live stream. On when I break this down, there'll be ads. I'll make money off of all you people. Haha. Anyway, what was I saying? Nighthaunt. Yeah. Yes, Nighthaunt. Fantastic models. They are wonderful. You will have a ton of fun painting them, and they are not bad in game as well. So yeah, have a good time about that. Hiroshita Kubo, is that right? Yes, hopefully. New to the hobby. Wondering, should I go Warcry or Underworlds? I prefer Warcry, but no support scares me. So my advice for you there is, all right, Warcry is a fantastic game, right? If you prefer playing Warcry, that's awesome. My question is, whatever you... No, it's not a question. My statement is, whatever you pick, just make sure you have people to play with, right? If you don't have a local scene in either Underworlds or Warcry or whatever, it's a great way to spend a lot of money and then kind of drop the game, if you get me. So yeah, just make sure you have people to play with. I would obviously say play Warcry. Because Warcry is great. And if you do have lots of people to play with, like one of the big criticisms that I hear about Underworlds is that it's kind of samey, right? Like there are a limited amount of decks, and you basically have to buy new warbands if you want the full support for those warbands. If you've got a bunch of older warbands like me, like here's FLM or whatever, you're kind of out of luck because you've got all the old stuff. And I don't know, I haven't played enough New Underworlds really to pass like a super in-depth judgment on that, but Warcry as a game, I can talk about that forever. Fantastic game. I would recommend getting into it, especially if you're already into Age of Sigmar, because it's basically free to get into. You don't need to buy anything. And then if you have a local play group, that's even better. But yeah, no matter what you pick, make sure you have a local play group for it. That's all I can really say about that. Lots of people today. Tewi 7 in Arbor, yes. I played a few matches with the Demon list you talked about, with Vexmore, Apatrax, Horrors, and the Changecaster. Yeah. It is super fun, isn't it? So I've made a bunch of updates. No one dared to come near Vexmore. Yeah, I know. I actually had a game on stream with Wargames on Toast the other week, showing off that list specifically. So I guess he's going to chop it up and then put it up. If not, I think you can go back. I think it's about 2 weeks worth of live streams, and it'll be up there if you want to see how I piloted it. I basically played him to a draw, which I was very happy with, considering it was the first time I ever played the Warband. And yeah, I'm real happy with how it's going. I made some changes. So this is the most up to date version of that warband. So we got two pinks. Well, this is all like stuff. Like it's an 8-man warband, but I've got to paint 18 models. So that's the way it is. So we got two pinks, two blues. We have Exalted Flamer. Now we're running Ephelim. Now we're running the Stairfish and Kindlefinger. I think it works better in terms of what I want, in terms of the different kind of missions that I think I'm going to find at UK Games Expo. The Meteoros has now released the mission pack, so we should be able to see. What is this? This way around. Here we go. So we should be able to see what those missions are. There are a couple of treasure missions in there, which is why I wanted the extra pink horror, because pink horrors just are fantastic on treasure missions. The way you play, by the way, the way you play treasure missions is that you have your treasure carrier, let's say, example, pink horror, whatever, and then you're supposed to have a buddy for that treasure carrier, let's say a blue, for argument's sakes. And the idea is the treasure carrier grabs the treasure. If he dies, he gets charged and dies. Then you've got agency to go with the buddy, go pick up the treasure, right? The thing about pink horrors is that they are their own buddies. Because if you give them spite, they can go pick up a treasure, move, and then if someone runs into them, they can die. Then they pop into two blues. Then the two blues can immediately activate. And one of them can tie up the thing that charged your treasure carrier, so they can't like be countercharged. And the other one can just go get the treasure and run away. So it works real well. And that's kind of something I really like. I think it's going to be real strong. I think it's going to be a strong ball band. I think it's going to be real like finicky to play, and it's going to be one of those things where if I don't turn up for work, I'll probably do bad. But I don't know. It just seems like a fun time and a fun project. Right. So sponging. So this needs to be purple. I now have actual purple paint, which is fantastic. So this should be fine. I'm basically going to sponge on purple, and I'm going to sponge on like pink, and then I'm going to do like deliberate highlights. So this kind of gets all the lowlights in there, and it should all come out real tasty. I hope, he says. Oh, by the way, you wouldn't have seen these horrors yet. These are my new horrors that I made out of squigs. So squigs, horror arms, and you get some real cool, like fat horrors, which I kind of like, because like the basic pink horrors I find are very flat, if you get me. They're very two-dimensional in terms of the models. They're like very forwards and backwards and not really much side by side. So that's why I went the squig route, and I think it's gonna be cool. I think they look cool. That's just me. Right, so it's basically something like this, and then we need pink. So my idea is to introduce my son, 8 years old, to the hobby together with me. So, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. If you got someone to play with, I think that's great. I think Warcry is better suited for younger kids, like 8 to 10 years old, because there are like rules that you can ramp up in the game, right? You can basically just introduce a bunch of rules like move, attack, and then you can introduce abilities, and then you can introduce a whole bunch of other stuff. And I kind of think it works better as an intro game into the hobby than something like Underworld. I think that'd be cool. I think they'll have a he'll have a good time. What is this? Pink. Not too much pink. Ruin what I'm doing. I mean, I can always fix it. That's not a problem, but yeah, it's just a pain when you do. There we go. A bit of sponge. Sponge. Something. Is it something like that? I don't even know. Yeah. Okay. I can kind of fix this. This should be okay. Right, just a little bit on the knuckles, I think. Pink. Okay. Pink. I mean, they are pink horrors after all, right? So they should be blooming pink, not just like purple horrors of Tzeentch, because that's not a thing. Around the face, around the chin. Nice, something like that, and then I'll go in and then I'll fix colors. Let's go fix some colors. Squid pink. Wow, I've got pink. This is what I got. That's it. Just pink. There we go. So paintbrush. Right. Okay. Now let's not do a bad job, I guess. Squid pink. Yeah, I've just got like an eclectic mix of colors depending on what I've ordered from Amazon at any particular time, basically. That's what I got going on. Purple. So what I should be able to do. Mostly Vallejo. Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton of Vallejo stuff. I've got some Army Painter stuff. I've got some Games Workshop stuff. Um, like I said, it really just like depends on what I've got. Like, um, Vallejo Army Painter is really easy to get off of Amazon. So like when I need a color, I can just go, oh yeah, here we go, Amazon Prime. Woo, let's go. Which is mainly what I have. I don't have any real preference for different model paint brands. What I did do though is all my Games Workshop paint I decanted into dropper bottles because that's kind of a necessity with Games Workshop paint I found. Because otherwise it kind of just dries up and you don't really get much use out of it, which is not nice. I don't like that. There we go. So purple. Games Workshop's washes, but yeah, exactly, right? Because they're in those stupid pots, a little nudge and they'll basically fall over. It's that meme, isn't it? The what is it? Not Chaos Black. Null and Oil, that's right. There's that Null and Oil meme where it's just like basically knocked over pots of Null and Oil. Yeah, I've definitely knocked over pots of paint before. It's totally happened. Right, so this is purple. I think what I'll do after this, I've got like a purple, which I can totally wash this model in to fix all of the midtones and whatever. Let's go. Pink. Agrax Earthshade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was my Agrax Earthshade that tipped over also. Because just because the big washes that you're going to use is going to be like Null and Oil, Agrax, and that's kind of it. Doing this weird dotting technique on these. It seems to be working. But who knows? Like I managed to do it on the big horror, and I was really happy with it. And I've been trying to replicate it on the little horrors, and for some reason it just hasn't come out as good. It may just be a case of scale, right, where the big horror is big, so it just looks better. But hey ho, we'll do what we have to do. Get this done. What's this horror look like? Yeah, it's like just like dots and washes. That's why I like Vallejo game colors. Yeah, exactly. That's totally right. Like that's basically what I'm using. I bought. I'm actually really happy with it. I bought their not game color. What is this? What is this stuff? Express color, right? It's basically the same thing as contrast paint. But the starter set of Express Color, which is just like how many colors? It was like 20 colors or something. Was really reasonable, especially compared to contrast paint. So I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it once. I'm gonna buy all of these, and then I have them all, and I don't need to spend like £100 just on paint, like I would need to do from Games Workshop. And I'm happy that, I mean, realistically speaking, paint is paint. They all kind of do the same thing. I never claim to be like a professional painter or even a very good painter. So, like, as long as it does the job for me, I'm kind of happy. But they work. I also found out I was having massive trouble last week with my blue, which is really weird. Like you would think, oh, why is the blue not going on? And I actually found out it's because my blue, like this blue, I'm not going to show you the front of the pack bottle, right? That's blue. Yeah. Oh, I've ruined it. That's blue. It's actually fluorescent blue, and fluorescent blue is like it doesn't go on because you need to apply it over a white base coat. So it basically just doesn't work. And I was wondering, why is my paint not drying? What's going on? Why is everything tacky? And it just kind of looked horrible. That was why. So now I'm happy to say I have wood blue. Nivek Russell, welcome, welcome, welcome. Kirsty, now I want to run pink and blue horrors. You know what? They're fun. They do it. Actually, so this warband, oddly enough, so I've been struggling for content recently, right? Because like Games Workshop isn't releasing anything, and so I don't really have anything to talk about. And when you are in this business, you kind of need to be excited, right? Excited about what you're doing. Otherwise, your videos are just kind of lame, and people know, right? People know that you're not excited about what you're talking about. But yeah, this warband for the first time has really got me excited about doing like how to play, because I do like a whole bunch of how to play videos, right? And this warband's kind of got me really excited to do that for Demons of Tzeentch. So that's what we're doing. I was writing that today, and I will have, hopefully, he says, a full how to play video coming soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. I've still got that ongoing series that I did with Toast, the thingy one where we played Warhammer Online. So I've still got like another 2 weeks of that. So once that finishes, I'll probably be uploading like how to play Demons of Tzeentch. This is the list that I took. This is how I would recommend playing it, and that'd be cool because I'm excited for the first time in a long time about doing one of these. Boop, 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 boop. Although we did, like, I think it must be a few months now. For the first time in a few months, sit down and record a Wild Dice podcast, which is pretty fun. Yesterday, 2 days ago, which is pretty cool. Right, I've been stacking up Nighthawks for the new book. Now I've got every named model and twice of most of the infantry units. It's a lot to paint. Just saying. But you know what? If you can, I think if you ever wanted to learn how to airbrush, Nighthawk are the faction to do it. Right? Like they are the airbrush faction, and you can do it, and they will look fantastic. That I can promise and almost 100% guarantee. So yeah, you want to learn how to airbrush, Nighthawk is your thing. But my problem is I kind of painted all my Nighthawk, and I cannot be bothered to get all the airbrush out again to paint new stuff. So what it is what it is, and it's basically not changing. They would need to release, like for Warcry, something truly fantastic and wild for Nighthawk to get me to break out the airbrush again. I don't tend to use it like. It's great. The airbrush is great. It does the big flat surfaces, does the transitions, everything you want, really. But I just find it a pain to like use and to clean, so I tend not to. How's this? Is this okay? This looks all right. Highlights around the eyes would be good. Dry brush, yeah, dry brush also creates a good look, but you know what? Airbrush, you don't get the streaks. There we go, nice little eyes. And also, I'm pretty sure that I cannot remember the recipe that I use for my Nighthawk, so whatever I do, it will just kind of look different. Nice. There we go. Cool. All right. That's totally a thing. Make the little dots more dense, like here on the back. That'll be fun. Cool. All right. That's where we are at the moment. So I know it's not the greatest. Oh, it's kind of better. So there's like a transition going from pink to purple, which I kind of like. What we need to do with this is I've got a purple wash, so we need to wash. Yeah, I think we need to wash it, and then we need to go over with a little bit more pink, and then that will be that for the skin. What is the wash? What wash? That's blue. Where are you? That's storm blue. Come on. Paint. Okay. Is it this one? Deep purple. Might be this one. Might be this one. I think it's this one. Gloomy violet. It's one of these. Kind of one of the black coach for the meme battle formation. I don't want to spend much money for nothing. I don't know, actually. I haven't played Age of Sigmar in 2 editions? 1 edition? No, beginning of last edition, I played Age of Sigmar. And it was with Nighthawk as well. It was back when they didn't have, was it last edition? Whichever one. It's back when they didn't have their own dedicated book and they were all part of Legions of Nagash. And there was a really cool, oh no, they did have their own book, but because Nighthaunt came in the starter set, Legions of Nagash was allowed to use the starter set stuff. I remember. And the list that I built was actually kind of crazy. So it was basically all the stuff from the starter set, but we were using a ton of necromancers, and we were using, it was like a bunch of necromancers, there were a couple of vampire lords in there, a whole bunch of different things, and the idea was to maximize on resurrect and basically have these massive blobs of resurrecting ghosts that would just keep on coming back, and it was crazy. I had like 5 or 6 different sources of resurrect in there, and then back in the day, back whenever this was, I can't remember when, the way where resurrect works is it was basically a heal, right? And you healed that many men on the in the units. And yet, like every turn, I was bringing back almost like half to 3/4 of a unit of Nighthaunt, and basically my opponents couldn't. They couldn't kill me, which was real fun. That was like the only Age of Sigmar event that I went to of that edition, and it was basically the only like Age of Sigmar games I played of that edition. I basically saw the rules, built the list, went to the event. I think I went 3-1. I'm pretty sure. It was fun. But yeah, don't tend to play Age of Sigmar anymore because I think it's just got like way too complicated, and I don't have the time really to practice and to play the games. The only times I get to go and play are basically at events. So most of my Warcry lists are kind of like, oh yeah, let's come up with the list, and then like sometimes the first time they ever see action is like on the day, and it kind of works, right? Like I think it was the Tarantulas Brood. I never played before I went to Southampton, and yeah, it's kind of like squeaky bum time, learning experience while you're playing the event. But you know what? I've mostly played that way all the time, so it's kind of fun. Warcry is that kind of game where it's lightweight enough that a very strong grasp of the basic rules is enough to carry you in most situations, right? As long as you know what's going on. There we go, look at this. Dots, lots of little dots. Yeah, this will work. Totally work. I finished this pink horror today, he says. Maybe, possibly. Hope so. That'd be good. Another black coach. How are Nighthaunt and Age of Sigmar nowadays, by the way? Like, I remember, like, Nighthaunt have kind of been, like, up and down. They've been, like, the best of the best, and they've been kind of terrible. It's one of those factions where, like, there was a really interesting, not article, video. That's right. There was a real interesting video on Warhammer Plus that went out like 2 days ago or something, and it had the two Age of Sigmar guys, Age of Sigmar developers, John Bracken and Phil Kelly, and they were talking about how they design their characters for Age of Sigmar. And basically, the long and the short of it was they get the model from the models department, and they look at the model and they say, okay, thematically, what is this model supposed to do? What does this model represent? And then that's how they build the rules from them, right? Now, the problem is when you look at Nighthaunt, they're all ghosts. There's a thematic way that you would expect that army to run, because they should be super fast, and they've got the terror mechanics. But then on top of that, they're ghosts, so they should be very difficult to kill under normal circumstances. And it all kind of comes together to either make them super, super strong or kind of pants, because, you know, every edition they kind of get a reset as to where the power level is and what exactly it is they're doing. But yeah, I found it a very interesting video. If anyone's interested, go check it out. It's on Warhammer Plus. Interview with the two of them. I really enjoyed it. My idea was to start maybe Warcry later, move to big things in Age of Sigmar, but hearing that, I don't know really. Well, I mean, it depends how much time you have, right? If you have the 2, 3, 4 hours for an Age of Sigmar game, depending on how long it will take nowadays, then go for it. And again, if you have a play group, that's fantastic. If you don't like me, then go Warcry. Warcry's great. Jim, I can't believe you're talking about Warcry being dead. I also can't believe you're not talking about Warcry being dead. How could you? Yeah, we did it. Okay, we did the whole Warcry being dead talk. I've talked about it in like 4 different videos now or something. We did it on podcast. We did it all over the place. It's just a thing, right? Every 6 months, Warcry is dead. So, but also every 6 months, it seems to come back to life, which is something I like. It's literally Schrodinger's war game. It's both dead and alive at the same time. That's what makes it awesome. What else did I watched actually that was pretty interesting? I don't know if any of you guys watch the Yogscast or consume any of their content, but on Wednesdays they do a Warhammer stream where they basically look at like the last week's releases and Warcry is a zombie basically. Yeah, where they look at last week's releases and it's basically like the Warhammer tabletop miniatures, wargaming, that kind of thing stream. And they went to play in what was the name of the rule set? Turnip. Turnip was the name of the rule set, right? And it's, again, a very pared down little skirmish game. Most of the time you're going to be running, let's say 20 guys maximum. But it's like a one-page rules style game, right? So it's very pared back. And they were talking about it afterwards, and they were saying, you know what? It's funny that Turnip's just like this funny, weird little game, and there's a lot of randomness going on. But they were saying that despite all of that, the game is only an hour long. And in terms of like strategy that you have to put forward, there's like a lot less of what you see in Big Hammer, like Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar. There's a lot less having to worry about the minutiae of the rules and like, oh, what's going to happen? A lot less thinking about, all right, well, I'm going to have to roll my dice. I'm going to have to make armor saves. I'm going to have to apply all these modifiers and all this kind of thing. There's a lot less of that and a lot more actually playing the game and thinking about strategy, where you're going to place your models. I thought that was a very good, there's a very good comparison to Warcry in there about that. So, yeah, I'm happy to see that some people are like me and they kind of agree that you don't necessarily need to have a massively bulky game to enjoy the game and to have strategy. Yeah, that was interesting. Again, go check out the Warhammer stream. It was all about Turnip this time, and it was kind of fun. There we go. Look. Pink and purple. Very good. Okay, so we need two teeth and claws, I think. Is that what we're going to do? Is it teeth and claws? Yeah, it's going to be teeth and claws. Okay, let me do some very small specular highlights. Specular, that's totally not the word I need to use for this because that's not what I'm doing. Little highlights on the fingers. Basically like knuckles. Boop, boop. Something like this. These knuckles. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, too much highlights. I'm going between the knuckles. That's not what I want. Let's go over here, in fact, so we can actually see what's going on. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah. Colin, hello mate. First tourney this weekend. Would you critique my list? Yeah, I will check out your list. If it's about a faction I know about, I will most happily be able to. Also, bear in mind, I don't know anything about the rule set. Not the rule. What am I talking about? Missions that are going to be run. So I can give you very general advice on this. No problem. What do I need though? I need. Oh wait, gums. You got to do gums. Gums. The gums were just like this purple, right? I remember. Yeah. There we go. Gums. Okay, so fingernails. It's like a brown. Is it this brown? I think it's this brown. It might be this brown. It's possible. We do like this brown, and then we go white, and that's basically it. I've kind of always done teeth and stuff this way. I don't know why, but I just like the big, bright, shiny teeth. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Right, here we go. Whoop. It's also not to try and ruin my pink, because now that it's done, I don't want to go back. I have to redo it. Best thing I love about Nighthawk Age of Sigma is my Blade Geist Revenant Charge Rush. Like 60 dice. It's so much fun. Well, it's the Orc way, right? Orcs in 40k used to basically be, okay, we can't hit anything, but quantity has a quality all of its own. Teeth. One more tooth. Top of this tooth. Inside of this tooth. Should do the inside of the mouth now. Also, shout out to you, mate. Love your videos. Glad someone's keeping the Warcry content. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I try, right? I try to keep it going. I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult sometimes to come up with new stuff, which is kind of why there's been a lot of just like painting streams recently, and like me talking about the stuff, like me chopping up the painting streams. That's why, because there basically hasn't been any new releases, so not much for me to talk about. But I am going to be going to UK Games Expo, so we'll be able to look at the list from that. I'll do a vlog again, I think, because that's pretty cool. It's always fun doing the vlog. I can sit down with all the guys. We can have a chat about the event, about what's happening and how we feel. So that's definitely something that we will do. I think Demetrios has fancy lapel mics now, so we'll be able to actually have decent sound quality as opposed to what I usually do, which is like I go somewhere with my mobile phone, set up the tripod, and the sound quality is garbage. So, fingers crossed. Okay, we have little nails. Haha. Okay, claws. We've got claws. On the feet, more claws. Perfect. There are no nails in here. This is fine. Okay, teeth. Teeth. Here we go. Come on, I turn gently. Let's not mess this up, please. It would be nice to even release new rules for newer units like Jaws. So I think, right, if Games Workshop do what they said they were going to do, or like rather, I like if Games Workshop continue to do what they said they were doing, right, which is periodic updates, periodic balance updates, and addition of new units, I would fully expect things like the Jaws of Its Soul, Grandfather's Gardeners, is that what they are? Whatever they are, those guys, and all those new units, I would expect them to be in their next update. That's what I would be expecting. So we are late a little bit, but you know what? I'm still hopeful, basically. Like a lot of stuff has come out. There's a lot of things to actually update with Warcry. Like if you look at what they've been trying to do, they've been trying to address like different parts of the game, right? So the first patch was very much a big old sweeping balance update. The second patch was for Bladeborn to get all those old Bladeborn up to scratch, which was really good. So I don't know what they're going to do for the next one. I reckon if it's coming when it's coming, we will see more balance updates and we will see more in the way of new units coming. Look at that. Here's a handsome boy. Right, I need to use eyeballs because what I've been doing for all these demons is I've got like fluorescent green. They all have like little fluorescent green eyes, which I kind of dig. There we go. Nice. Has this one got any fire on it? Ah, teeth. Sorry, teeth. I don't think this one's got any fire on it, which is good. It means I don't have to actually paint fire. There we go, nice. So what we can do while we wait for this is we can do the metallics, I think. Metallics. Does it need another wash? I don't think so. It's very close. Yeah, it doesn't need another wash. So we'll do the metallics on this one, which is done with metallic Sharpies. Question. Outside of the Warcry realm, is the UK as bad, dangerous, and unstable as it's portrayed? No, is the answer. I guess you're talking about what? Like politically, or like, is it dangerous in the UK? No, it's not. It's actually fine. The problem is we have a very right-wing press in this country. I mean, the majority of it's right-wing. You can find decent press, like you can anywhere. I have to say, and they like to play up all the problems because supposedly we have a left-wing government at the moment, so the right-wing press is basically going to be all over that. It's fine. There's a lot of political point scoring that happens in this country. There's a lot of stuff that they talk about which actually isn't an issue. I guess like any country, really. But no, it's fine. I've been in the UK for 40 years, and hopefully I will continue to be in the UK. Since you've been to Warhammer World Tournaments a lot, have you had the opportunity to speak to designers about the game at all? Yes, I have. On passing, I've spoken to John Bracken himself about the game. I've given him feedback, various feedbacks, things. He's always happy to hear feedback about game balance, because that's one of the ways that he can get game balance, and that's one of the ways that he can influence. I mean, he writes the thing. He can write the FAQs and the updates, right? By hearing from that. I know that the other way he gets feedback is by looking at the various tournament data, and I am almost 100% sure that those guys, like, there's someone in Warhammer community who is keeping an eye on social media, keeping an eye on YouTube. Probably they have someone in the Discord that I'm not entirely sure of, but maybe. And they're checking it out. John himself, he's a really good guy. He likes the game, basically. He really enjoys Warcry. He thinks it's one of the better games, as far as I know. Well, I mean, he would say that, right? Because he's the designer for it. He loves the game, and yeah, that's it. That's it, really. If you want to talk about the events team at Warhammer World, they love Warcry in particular, and they are always happy to put on Warcry events. One of the questions was, oh, where are the Warcry events coming in the next 3 months? And the answer is probably end of August. Is the answer to that. They don't want to step on UK Games Expo's shoes. We put in an application for an event at LGT, which we should hear back sometime. I don't know, maybe at some point. So they don't want to step on any of those shoes. So basically, that means that the events have to happen a bit later on. We generally get 4 events per year at Warhammer World. We've had 2, so there's plenty of time. I'm in Northern Ireland, which they definitely not no worse than anywhere else. Yeah, what in terms of is the UK as bad, dangerous than that? It's fine. Same as exactly right. I live in London. It's a massive city. We got what like 7.8 million people here, so it's also a massively diverse city. I wouldn't have it any other way. Like there are very few places. This is nice. I kind of like it. What color should I do the feathers? Green? Green feathers? Yeah, green feathers. There are very few places in the world. I've been about the place. There are very few. This is the wrong green. No, it's the right green. Okay. Yeah, there are very few cities in the world that I would want to live in. I think Berlin is probably one of the other cities on the planet that I would consider living in because it's very much a metropolitan style city, like London is. The transport links are very good. They've got art, they've got culture, all that kind of thing. My in-laws have been trying to get me to move to Dubai for the longest time, and I keep saying no. So I definitely wouldn't move there. But yeah, that's basically one of the few other places that I'd consider going to. Right, so green feathers, I guess. Something like this. It should be a decent enough contrast against the pink. Yeah, there we go. Let's do this so you can actually see it. That'd be awesome. Trying to run a painting stream and painting over my head. There we go. Cool. We got feathers. And more feathers, more feathers. Very nice. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. You know what? We're getting there. We are legitimately getting there on this model. It doesn't look exactly like the way it looks on this camera. I'll take some nice pictures later on, but I think we're doing all right, you know. Let's see. Yeah, it needs those eyeballs, and I think what we're gonna do. I did a thing to add a stand up. Go. I did a thing to add shading. I've got what is this? Oh, I've actually no. There we go. I legitimately have no shade, so we're going to use that. Let's get the eyeballs in with this stuff. Look at that color. That's wild. So this is fluorescent green. That all my eyeballs are going to be. Should be fun. It's the tiniest dot of fluorescent green. There we go. Boop. Okay, right. So tiniest dot of fluorescent green. Don't mess up. 1, 2. Very good. Clean this up a little bit. I clean my brushes and they've kind of gone wild. Nice. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Right, so we will do the black. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, okay, we're going to do the black wash. Just in the recesses, just to darken this up a little bit and give a little bit more definition. And that should be, I think, Pink horror done. Or mostly done anyway. Right? You know, just like done to a standard that I am happy with. Some musculature going on. Swipe some of that. Very good. In these recesses. The shade very almost does nothing, but it does just enough. Great. I think. Have I done it? Am I done? Yeah. All right. Cool. I think I've done a pink horror. Oh, there's a tiny mushroom on his base. Let's do the tiny mushroom on his base. I guess it's going to be green. I've got like a green wash as well to go with that, so that should be fine. Maybe we can do some of this basing. Maybe I'll finish the Exalted Flamer, actually. That would be probably really useful. I'll hide the fact that these are used to be squigs. Okay, cool. Right, I just need to let this dry. I need to let this dry, and then he will largely be done. I just need to not touch it for a while. All right, shall we finish this guy? So he needs... Is my brush clean? I don't even know. So, our boy... I'm getting very warm because I have lights everywhere. One of the things about YouTube is that you can never have enough light. There we go. Cool. Right, I've got like key lights over there. It's all bouncing off the walls into my face. There we go. So this one, right. This needs a dry brush on the base. I think it needs a couple of dry brushes. I need to do the stone, and then that should be it. I think. Yes. Do we do a brown dry brush? I guess so. Let me get the small dry brush out. Okay. Brown. Where's my brown? Here we go. Evening, Martin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing? Quick recap where we are. We painted one pink horror. I came today and ordered the Ethereal Court to add the Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Seat. Then, right. You prioritize watching the final episode of Andor. Well, I mean, you know, I'll be here, he says. Yeah, anyway, Knight of Shrouds. Right, Knight of Shrouds and Ethereal Steed is fantastic. It is one of the ace units in Nighthaunt. I would recommend it to anybody, basically. So it's a good thing. You could have converted one, you know. Just saying. Like, you can get what is it? The Dreadblade Harrow kit, right? Comes with two guys on ethereal steeds. And you can basically convert those guys real easily with like other Nighthaunt bits to make real effective Knight of Shrouds. But no one kind of cares that they're not Knight of Shrouds. Yeah, kit bash both exactly. Right, I need some kind of. Is this it? Screaming Skull? I think this is it. Yeah, so you can make them out of Dreadblade Harrows. Real easy. And then the nice thing is that there is a world where you want to bring a Dreadblade Harrow, so you can like basically have two. One is the stock Dreadblade, and the other one is a Knight of Shrouds. and then you've got both. And then what I did is I used more Dreadblade arrows. Oh, purple balls. Okay, let's not fuck up. Yes, I used more Dreadblade arrows because they're the push fit ones and they're really, really good. To make Hex Wraiths, Hellwraith even. Hellwraith is the one I want to say. The Hellwraith is the leader from the Hex Wraith set. And what you do is you get that model, you get the scythe guys, and you can basically put one of the scythe guys on top of that horse real easy, and that's how you can make your Hellwraith. Like that, whatever set it was, what Dreadblade Harris set is really, really versatile. I really like it. There we go. Let me get some actual texture on there. And the Krulgast, of course. Krulgast is fantastic. We know it's fantastic. I talked about it for a solid 10 minutes last week. And it very nearly won an event for me, but not quite. That particular event where I took Nighthaunt, I think the finals was... So I was playing Nighthaunt. It was a Krulgast Cruciator, Knight of Shrouds and Ethereal Steed, Hellwraith, and Chain Rasps. And yeah. And I was in the finals. I'd won 3 games. So going into my last game, it was against a Varangard Vexmore teleporting Ephelim list. So basically one of the hardest lists that Chaos could put together. Unfortunately, I did not win. I whiffed a couple of my rolls. My opponent was very, very good. So it wasn't meant to be. But I went 3-1, which is great. I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. Currently, until I get my new models, I'm running Knight of Shrouds, Tomb Banshee, Hexwraith, Spirit Host, and yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. One of the awesome things about Nighthaunt is that the battle trait that they got is very, very good. And that battle trait does a ton of heavy lifting for you. So as long as you and your playgroup play with battle traits, you're going to have a good time. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be the biggest list, and it has weaknesses. I think that's one of the good things, actually, about the Nighthaunt update, is that they gave them a massive, massive boost in power, but also retaining some inbuilt weaknesses, so they're not just like BSOP, if you get me, right? Yeah, they get the strength boost. Yeah, everyone gets to use Frightful Touch, so they can kind of kill things, but ultimately, they're only running a 7-man warband, really? And that has huge limitations. So yeah, it's I like the way that they went with Nighthaunt. More of that, please, Games Workshop. Big power boosts without being busted. So that Piegeist didn't get that battle trait. Yeah, I mean, Piegeist, sure. Piegeist battle trait is actually very, very good. When you take a look at it, it kind of does a lot for Piegeists. If I remember, it's like roll a dice for each Pie token you've got on the board, and it generates wild dice for you, which you can basically use to do whatever you want, because they're wild dice. So in terms of battle traits, it's very, very strong. The problem is that Pyregeists can't easily generate their tokens. They've got to take... I think the easiest way for them to do it is to take... what are they? The flaming ones. The 6-inch move 3-3-1-3 ranged attackers. Those guys. That's like the easiest way to do it. But the problem is you've got to use a double, and then, yeah, they get +1 strength, and they have to kill what they hit. And then you get a token. So it's difficult, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I think like they need a little bit of a buff. I think hopefully Games Workshop does something for them. They haven't yet, but I think they might have been too new for the last update that they did. The last update was in September, I think. And the way Games Workshop usually like to go, at least with other game systems, I can't speak for Warcry, but with other game systems, is they like to look at tournament data, and they like to see it, and then they will kind of make a decision based on that. So I'm just hoping that Piegeist were too new at the time, which is why they never got an update. So hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe they'll get a boost. Likely, if it's going to be anything, it's likely it's going to be points breaks, right? Because that's the way the game social places do things. So I think if they're medium guys, what are they called? Um, the guys, they got guys with two braziers, they got guys with halberds, and they got the flaming dudes. If all those guys kind of got a points cut by maybe, I want to say 10, possibly even 15 points for the medium dudes, that would make them pretty good, I think, because then they could actually have the numbers to be able to survive long enough to put pie tokens on the field. And that's one of their big issues at the moment, is that they're just not doing that at the moment. So maybe, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Okay, this isn't bad. This is going to need like a wash of some kind. I got this really cool... Maybe I use my cinematic effects. Ooh, could be fun. Show you guys a bit. This is all kind of okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's very rough. The nice thing about basing is that it really helps to elevate a model, right? Like your model can look absolute ass, but if it's got good base on it, it'll like all kind of work out. I'm gonna need a bigger brush for this, maybe. Oh no, this works. Cool. Yeah, I think what we're gonna do, we will go null oil over basically all of this. Close up of the big boy. Here you go. Sure. This way around. There he is. Can I get this? Oh, he's finally in focus. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Camera. There he is. Look at him. He's my beautiful boy. If the camera ever goes into into focus. He's almost finished, actually. So yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're basically just going to cover his entire base, like as it is now, with null oil. Then we're going to do... I've got tufts, so we're going to do tufts. I might do moss. I'm going to show you this really cool... Yeah, it looks like Slimer with legs. Exactly. Hey, Chris. Welcome. I'm going to get a fog machine just to whip out on the table when I play them with everybody. Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool. Like, actual, physical, in real life cinematic effects. I might do that one day. Maybe if YouTube works out for me, it can fund a fog machine. And like a streaming platform. That'll be good. So yeah, I think we're going to do all of this is going to be we're going over it with not chaos blend. What is this? Non-oil, which should kind of fix any mistakes I've made. We're going to go tufts. We're going to go moss. We're going to rim the base, and it's going to look fantastic. I think, hopefully. He says, should be fine. Like ideally, I'd want a bright base for this because it's a kind of dark model. But, I'm kind of limited in what I have to hand and the time that I have to do it in. Yeah, cool. So it looks something... It's a big old... Dark. Very dark. What's going on? Actually, that's okay. All right, we need to let this dry before I touch it, because otherwise what's going to happen is I'm going to stick my thumb onto that base, and then I'm going to just mess up the color scheme. So you're there for the time being. I think what we can do now, we've done the pink. We need to wash the green on the pink. You're here painting reclusians with all the chains. Everybody, so Chris is in chat. Chris is the guy, I did a video with him. I basically dragged him to a Warcry event. And he'd never played the game before. And he got the bug. So he's coming with us to UK Games Expo. He's going to run Reclusians, which is going to be real fun. And yeah, he's currently painting all the chains. All the chains in the world. Right, so what was I saying? Right, let's not break my concentration. Do I do the flamers? the brimstones. I think I do the brimstones. I got a couple of different washes. I think what we need to do is we need to do light ones first and then dark. So we do the yellow first, then red in the recesses, and then highlight after that, right? So I think we got, what is this? Is this an imperial yellow? Yeah, this is what we're using. And then I got nuclear yellow. Nuclear yellow is a fun yellow, but it's not, I think, the colors I want. Is this orange? Martian orange. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do, right? Nuclear yellow, Martian orange, and cardinal purple, plasma red, right? I think these are the three that we're going to go in that order. Right. I have no space. I need more space. Yes, this is not a pallet. I know it's not a pallet. Yes, I know I'm lazy. Let's go. Let's clean this up. That's what I did. Orange base coat, red wash, yellow highlight. Yeah. So I mean, I've done a white base coat and I've dry brushed. It's not white. It's like a mid-tone grey. Mid-tone grey base coat, dry brushed white, and then we're going to go over with the yellow, and then we're going to do that, and then I'm going to do some like individual highlights. Like if we look here, I don't know if you can see properly, but it is actually highlighted the fire, and that's kind of how I did this one. So we're kind of going to follow. We're going to follow that. That should be all right. Get all this off. Lovely. Would be horrible. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's working. I'm not just throwing this onto the floor. I do actually have a bin down here, by the way. The other thing about these fluorescent paints is that they take an age to dry. I think they might be oil-based, actually. Most probably they are oil-based. Otherwise the pigment kind of won't stick. And that just leaves everything kind of tacky, so I have to go over it and like spray it with clear coat. Glorious. It's kind of like peeling chewing gum if you have to do that before. There we go. Okay. We have space now. Good. All right. Yellow. Also, give me a bigger brush. Let's have a bigger brush to do this. Yeah, I've got high hopes for this one. Brush, brush. There we go. Yeah, very high hopes for this warband. Hopefully, it'll do well. You know, maybe. I think it's going to be a case of I do okay, and then because I haven't practiced it as well as I should do. All right. So what this should, he says, do is if I do this, let's cover everything in this yellow. If nothing else, it's fun. Exactly, right? It'll be fun. I've like, well, I mean, I haven't really in Warcry done the super sweaty lists, but I'm kind of just out here to try a whole bunch of different things now. I've got so many list ideas that I want to try, and basically not enough time, not enough events to run them in. So I'm just gonna get them all out there. I'm gonna do this next event, do another one. We got Tabletop Scotland coming up later. I'll play a different list then, and I'll just play a different list each time. Super cool. Okay. Brimstone Horrors. I must have painted about 60 of these in my time. Like, back in the day, which edition of 40k was it? The one where, like, you didn't have points to begin with, and it was like, what's it called? What's the mechanic called? There was no points, but there was like combat strength or something. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was called. What they called it. When they released that edition of 40k, I think it was on with the Necron book. That was like Necrons in the thing. I ran a demon list because I went to a narrative event and I was just like, okay, I have a ton of big demon models, like greater demons, exalted greater demons, all sorts of things. And I thought, okay, well, I want to play them, but I need infantry, and I basically I have to have basic models because otherwise I'm just going to lose all the games. And it was Brimstones that I chose because Brimstones were like super cheap, and you could like string them out and like just take over massive parts of the battlefield just because they were so cheap and so numerous. So yeah, I painted something like 60 Brimstones. It was like 6 units of 10, and that's what we did. I didn't paint them like this though. I didn't paint them like proper Brimstone colors. I basically dry brushed them all purple and highlighted them blue. That's what I did. So that was a thing. I never thought I would have to paint Brimstones again, but here I am. These are basically just resprayed those Brimstones. I popped them off the bases, but I'm going to put them on new bases. Resprayed those. We will just like carry on, just recycling my models. That's kind of where I am at the moment with my hobby. It's like, I've got so many armies that I'm basically never going to use again. Like Nighthaunt is a great example. I'm never going to play Big Age of Sigmar again, most likely. And I've got this massive Nighthaunt army, so I might as well just recycle the miniatures that I have. So I've got like a ton of 40k demon models. Like I used to have a very sizable demon army, let's say, and I've recycled a whole bunch of that so far. So hopefully more in the future because I really want to use the models that I have as opposed to just going in there buying more stuff. But then again, that's the Games Workshop way, right? If you want to win these tournaments, you have to buy more shit, as they say. It's actually really funny. That's a direct quote from a dude in the Warhammer World store. I can't remember what we were playing. I think it was 40k. Chris, you'll remember if you're in the chat. What were we playing? Was it a 40k event? That was the one where I brought the tower with all the drones. And a guy had a really bad day, like a really, really bad day at that event. He's like, oh, you know how you gotta win these goddamn competitive tournaments? You gotta buy more shit. And he like shouted that out in the middle of the Warhammer World store. He's not wrong, really, but you know, you didn't have to make it obvious to everyone who was there. Those were the days, really. I mean, I'm reminiscing about my youth, but we used to bring. I think the most we brought was something like 20 players to one of those events. So we were like a good chunk of that player base. I think we fixed the painting competition once because it's like, oh well, yeah, no one else is going to beat 20 votes for one thing. It was kind of funny. Okay. Blooming hell. I'm trying to paint this. Oh, I should be painting this over here, but I'm painting it here. Let me twist a little bit. If I move, if I shove myself over here, everything should be under the thing. 8th, yeah, the one with power level. Yeah, that's right. Yes, you didn't have points costs. You had power level. That's totally a thing. There we go. Okay, so that's the yellow done. Now we will do orange. Orange. So the idea is we've got the yellow. We'll do the orange in the recesses, or the red, whatever I choose. And then we will highlight off the back of that. And it should be fine. A lot of people hated the power level mechanic, but I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought as a real quick and dirty way to make your list. I thought it was pretty good. I think the only real downside was that all the gear was basically costed the same, which is really strange, right? So in eighth, there was a big pushback against power level because all the gear was basically costed the same, right? And then they redid it, and then they put in points, but then they went back again. And I think is it this edition? He lost the flyers every game. Yeah. Is it this edition of 40k that's basically gone back to a pseudo power level thing where the points are the points, and that's basically what it is? I can't remember. Maybe, possibly. It's just a very strange route for Games Workshop to take. Yeah, the flyer meta. That's what it is. What it was, rather. All right. So, if I'm correct, I should just be able to do something like this, right? I don't want a lot of orange. Basically, just on the faces is what I'm looking for. And let's move this guy out of the way before I paint him by accident. And then I can go in, I can do highlights, I can do more orange if I need to, I can put in red if I need to, but it should be fine. Stand up. Yeah, I really want to get the bulk of this basically done because basing is going to take time. It's not just about painting, but like basing literally does. If you're applying sand, applying texture, whatever, all that's got to dry before you can paint it. That's another couple of hours work. I've learnt my lesson. This all just has to dry fully before I mess around with it. Yeah. Okay, so it's like wet. It doesn't look great, and you can't. Come on. Aha! It doesn't look great for now, but I assure you, with all the dry brushes and all the highlighting, it should look cool. I think. Brimstones. Okay, next up is oh yes, there is some flames on these guys, which I totally have to do, and I totally have to not forget about. Like very little flames on the blues, but it is what it is. Any more? That's it. Okay, cool. That's all the flames on the blues. Perfect. Okay. How are you doing, Biggie? You doing all right? You drying? Do I need? Right. I need. Do I have? Do I have any tufts? I'm looking over there to see if I have tufts. Give me a second. Okay. Do I have tufts? What are you? These are little leaves, which are not tufts. This is static grass, which is not tufts. Where are my tufts? No, I've got them. Ah, perfect. Bam! Look at that. Okay, you, my boy. This is fine. This is largely fine, actually. It's still wet though. Should we do the rim? Fuck this up. Let's do the rim. All right. Brand new blank. Okay, tufts, you can go here so I don't miss you. You are going to go on this so I don't mess up my desk. Not any more than it's already messed up. That is. Okay, right, black rims. They always basically just do exactly the same thing. There we go. Very good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Like, already, okay, let's see if I can get a good picture of this, right? Without messing up. Haha! So already, just from that bit of dry brushing, the wash, and the black rims, it looks way better, right, as a model. So I'll do some highlighting on here. I'll do tufts. Of course, we want tufts most definitely, and then that's basically how the basing is going to be. I think. I think it'll be good. Okay, right. So these need to dry. These little dudes. You go over here. And it'll basically be the same. I can paint Apatrax. Can I paint Apatrax? I can paint Apatrax. Stairfish? What does he look like? I don't even know. Let's look him up. Apatrax. What do you look like? Apatrax. Ephelim's Pandemonium. Warhammer Underworlds, Ephelim's Pandemonium. Okay. Images. What happened? This one. Okie dokie. So. Oh, right. So Apatrax is like he's got pink tentacles, he goes into blue, and then he's got like green fins. All right, I can do that. I can totally do that. Yeah, 100%. All right, Apatrax. He's got pink tentacles, pink tentacles, pink. And it goes into blue. Okay. So we start a purple, I guess. What we're doing. Purple. We're going to go into pink. There we go. Perfect. Okie dokie. So, tracks the stairfish. What we'll do, I think, we'll just paint all these tentacles purple, do the wash, do the pink dry brush. And then go into the blue with the wash though. We'll do blue washes instead of like blue. I think that'll work. Okay. Okay. Incidentally, about UK Games Expo, by the way, I promised I'd plug it. I will plug it because I'm going to it. It's like 3 tickets left, something like that. 2 tickets left. So those tickets are disappearing very fast. But if anyone wants to play narrative Warcry, there is going to be a narrative event on the Sunday, and that's going to be pretty fun. And I get it, right? Like the competitive event is on the Friday, so it's difficult to stay. But you know what? If you can't come down on the Friday, seriously consider giving the narrative event a go because that's going to be awesome. There you go, something like this, right? With the purple, and then if I go into pink. Something like this, and then I will do a little bit of work to blend it, and then we can do a little wash to fix the transitions. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Right, we got to fix the transitions, right? I know it's all gone a bit quiet in here, so if anyone has any questions for me, go ahead and ask, and I'm happy to answer. I remember, who was it who was asking for list critique? Um, Someone was asking for list critique. If you have a list critique that you want done, I'm happy to look at lists also, or like general advice about whichever faction. Because I'm basically just here for the next like half hour, just doing this, and speaking into the void is kind of lame. Oh no, Martin, working on non-Warcry? What is this? Might have to kick you out. Where are my mods? What are my moderators doing? People working on non-Warcry during my Warcry painting stream. What are you working on? Come on, let me know. I've been looking, actually, that's something I could talk about. I've been looking at, like, I don't want to say it. I've been looking at Trench Crusade recently, right? Because those models are kind of something cool. Um, just like I haven't actually started reading the rule set yet, but from the looks of things, it's very heavily narrative focused. Very much like Necromunda is the vibe that I get in terms of how they want people to play the game. Um, so don't try and break it. Basically, is the long and the short of it. But yeah, Trench Crusade looks really cool. I'm looking at the Iron Sultanate models, and I kind of dig them. If anyone has actually played the game and knows how it goes, let me know. I'd like to hear. Painting a Blood Bowl team that I just can't get finished. Ooh, which team? Which team? I've never. I've painted several Blood Bowl miniatures, never for Blood Bowl. But I have played a ton of Blood Bowl 3, so I do actually know how the game works. Blood Bowl is one of those weird games where I kind of I like Blood Bowl, but I can't see myself playing it in real life because like if you're playing Blood Bowl 3, it automates a lot of the stuff for you. Basically all the stuff it automates. But there's a shit ton of moving parts to Blood Bowl, like in terms of, oh yeah, here's all of my guys, and they might all have different skills, and they might all have different abilities, and for me, keeping track of all that, I think, is a bit beyond something that I want to do in a casual sense. So that's kind of what's putting me off playing Blood Bowl in real life, but I can see why it's fun. It's the Black Horse. Oh, the Black Horse with the start set. Nice. My main Warcry buddy insists on the odd game of Blood Bowl, so I have to keep him happy. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like the video game version and the tabletop version, whilst being the same rule set, they have very different play experiences. Um, it's a bit like for me playing Warcry on TTS versus playing it in real life. Yes, technically it's the same game, but I find that Warcry on TTS is a very different play experience. It's not necessarily one that I enjoy all that much, which is why I don't play on TTS all that often. Yeah, still Rama, but yeah, exactly, right? Like when your guys have 4 or 5 different skills that they can use, and that's all stuff that you have to keep on track of yourself. I think it becomes a very different game. Right, we need blue. Or should I do it with the wash? I think I should do it with a wash, right? Yeah. What is this? This is gloomy violet. This is purple. Do I have blue? This is blue. Mystic blue. Fun blue. get back to Warcry, I'm coming to pick up a new faction to try. It needs to be something I'd enjoy painting. Orcs are a bit of a test for trying Iron Jaws. How did you like them? Because, I mean, we know that Iron Jaws are good, right? we all know that Iron Jaws are good. So, if you enjoy painting them, then that's basically for you, right? Because most of the time, the advice I give people is that Warhammer is mostly a solitary hobby where you got to do a lot of modeling and painting. So if you're going to do it, pick something that you like, right? Apatrax, the stair fish. Ooh, let's get some transitions going. You know what? I can come on. There we go. That's not terrible. What we're looking at. So I think could be onto a winner. He's got green fins. I need to do some green anyway. So if I get like this out, what's this? Troll green. Yellow is hard, even with the good games. I can't even speak. Yellow is hard, even with the good Games Workshop contrast. Yeah, it is. Yes, yellow. It's like the famous colors, yellow and white. If you're going to do yellow army or a white army, that's like you're basically a masochist. Although I've got a good recipe for white that works nowadays. I haven't tried a yellow army yet. The problem with the yellow and Iron Jaws specifically is that the armor is big flat plates, and the pooling on the contrasts might not work out for that. So what you might want to try, if you're willing to give it a go, with the Games Workshop contrast paint on the yellow, is do like a 4-to-1 contrast medium, so 4 parts contrast medium to 1 part contrast, and try that on the big flat surfaces. That's basically what I did on my Tau Flyers for Aeronautica Imperialis, because they have a lot of big flat surfaces, and that really helps to get the consistency where you wanted it to be on those surfaces. That might work. Yellow base with Fulgrim pink, and took Iron Jaws yellow on top. I've heard that actually. I've heard that as a technique to actually base the yellow with pink instead of just going yellow. So maybe that'll work. Try both. Heard about pink on yellow. Mine was Iron Jaws contrast over Wraithbone and then Seraphim sepia wash. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Oh, look at that. Look at him. Look at my little boy. He's fun. I'm gonna highlight that blue though. We're gonna put like actual blue in there. Green. Oh, must not forget. Here we go. Green on the feathers. Here we go. That goes green. This goes green. Very nice. Mushroom. That's green. Perfect. Okay. Let's not touch the green. Let's not get it everywhere. Okay. We're getting there. We are getting there. Right. So, my boy. He's not stuck. Very good. This is dry now. That's awesome. So I'm going to show you a thing. If I can find it. Where is it? I've got some wicked stuff. Not verdigris. This stuff. Here we go. So I saw this. This stuff is awesome. So to begin with, there's this. Is it Dirty Down? Yeah, Dirty Down. That is a company that does paints for not primarily miniatures paints, but they are sold as paint for things like cosplay and for things like costumes. and they've got a few different ones of this. So this is Dirty Down Rust. So the idea is that you can paint this over a black undercoat, and it will do all the rust tones for you. And it kind of works. It works pretty well. But it's not rust that we're using today. I've got a few things. I've got that. I've got verdigris, our favorite for metals. And then I've got this stuff, moss. Right? So what this stuff does, I need to properly mix it because otherwise it will not be good. It kind of dries patchy, if you get me, but it gives texture. So it feels like moss, basically. It looks like moss. I've done it on a few other models, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. Be very careful with it. It also reactivates underwater with water, so you need to seal it before you paint it, before you want to paint over it, if that's what you want to do. But the idea is, and you build it up in layers, right? You build it up in layers, and what will happen is some bits are a bit translucent, some bits will be less translucent, and it will end up looking like moss. I promise you. Right, and you do the same thing for the rust, and the rust will dry like it will dry darker the thicker you put it on. So you know how rust isn't one uniform color of orange. That's basically how you do it, right? So you do multiple layers, and then the rust will it'll basically look like rust, and it's super awesome. It's really cool. Okay, and then it looks shiny now, but it does, I promise, have a matte finish to it. I guess something like that. And then I just need to leave that to dry. I need to clean my brush properly on this one. It is water activated, but I don't want it just sitting in there. There we go. Yeah, I use very little of it, but it's pretty good. Water soluble paint. Dries to a moss color in 1 to 5 minutes. Airbrush. The pot and the surface must be warm to a touch. Causes permanent staining. Sure. Oh yeah, so this will dry happily, and I can put tufts on now, I guess. Where are my tufts? Here are my tufts. Then I'll have actually finished one miniature from this one. All right, so tufts. Just make sure all my brushes are clean before I do this. All right, so let's not touch. And I know it's like a cardinal sin to do stuff on drying paint. I'm lazy for one thing, and I'm impatient for another. Yeah, because it's big, I'm gonna go kind of wild, and it's gonna look like I'm using a lot more than I need, but it'll be fine. Let's move all this out of the way so we can actually see what we're doing. Okay. And the tufts are, I mean, it's if for anyone who's not used tufts before, it's basically adhesive on the bottom, right? So you kind of just squeeze it into place, and it will happily sit there. And the adhesive's good enough for like general gaming, I find. I've never had to reapply tufts or glue them down or anything. It's just worked. You just kind of squeeze it into the bases, and it kind of works out. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that already is just looking better. In the middle. Good. Okay. Want to expand this one out a little bit. Long live War. Yes, Big Arth. Long live Warcry. It's not going anywhere. As far as long as you keep on playing it, it is not going anywhere. Okay, and I think I want. So we're going okay. I think I want one at the front as well, and we'll be largely done. Okay. Maybe sticking out of that rock. Okay. Squeeze it all in. I know I'm quiet, but I am concentrating. Cool. All right, that's basically where we are, I think. Check that out. The base looks kind of cool. I like that. Tufts are fine. Could I make it? Could I do more? Probably. But I think less is more with this kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Now this still yeah, this hasn't dried yet, right? It's 3 to 5 minutes, so we're waiting for the moss to dry. What I might do is because it's like supposed to be magical, I might put some little blue, like blue magic bits on inside this. But that is mostly, for the most part, Big Boy is done. Done. Okay. To touch that again. No, I lied. I need to seal it. But apart from sealing it, I shouldn't need to touch it again. Pigoth, I was talking about this in a Discord, maybe mine, but regardless whether or not we get update, I think it's our responsibility to keep playing and building and introducing. Yes, exactly. Right? If you are enjoying the game, and you want people to play the game, then yeah, you have to do it yourself. Games Workshop isn't going to come and hand you a play group to play with, right? You kind of have to find it and you kind of have to do it. So that is a responsibility of the community to kind of do that. Yeah, personally, I play most of my games at the Games Workshop store. There's been a noticeable uptick in Warcry games. Well, yeah, I mean, all right, here's the thing. So we all say, oh yeah, Warcry, people have left. But you have to think about what has actually happened. Like in terms of Games Workshop world, what's actually happened. They've had a new version of Kill Team, which they've been pushing onto people. They got an I don't like this at all. They have a new version of Warhammer Underworlds that they've been pushing onto people, right? And then there's New Age of Sigmar that they've been pushing onto people. And then there's New 40K, right? So Games Workshop wants you to play their new games. But it's up to you to decide which game that you want to play. And people will naturally leave, like, play a game for a while, and then when the new thing comes, they'll play that game for a bit. And then, they'll play the games that they want to play. So, just because there are less people playing Warcry, I don't necessarily think that that's a doom signal, right? If you want to play Warcry and you enjoy it, build the community and play it. And then who knows? Games Workshop will take notice eventually. They usually do when there's money to be made. I mean, they did it with Necromunda, right? And they did it with Blood Bowl. Right? Those games were dead in terms of Games Workshop speak. Nice. Okay, and we got Apatrax, which I think looks okay. You look fine, Apatrax. Okay, so there's all of this stuff, right? All of his teeth, which they're already white. So can I just get like, will this work? If I do null oil, will it work? Maybe. If I do null oil and then just go around all of this to pick up all the white, is it going to look like ass? Is it actually going to look fine? I think fine is the answer. And then I'll do a dot of that luminescent green in the middle. Yeah. Okay. Very small highlights. I think that's okay. I mean, it's good enough, I think. Considering how long I've got, I think it's good enough. Yeah, this warband is kind of one of those weird things where I have way more models to paint than I should do. Good. Okay, I will accept that. And this guy, Kindlefinger's just pink. So what do I do for you, Kindlefinger? Do I just paint you pink? Is that what we're doing? What do I do? Do like dry brush? Maybe we do dry brush. Old Kindlefinger. If I start with the purple, where'd my thing go? Gone. We'll start with the purple. There we go. Nice. Old Kindlefinger. Such weird models. I love these models, by the way. Ephelim's Pandemonium. Like, they embody what I think Tzeentch models should be, which is just like weird, wacky, and wonderful. Like this bizarre menagerie of just like different kinds of demons that Ephelim has managed to amass. Yeah, then what we need to do after this is we need to let this dry. We need to wash it and then do a pink dry brush. Not dry brush, pink highlights. That's basically it. It should be fine for old Kindlefinger. He's like tiny, he takes seconds to paint. Let's clean this dry brush. Okay. Any advice for building a list around the Dread Pageant? Is there a way to build it all competitively using all 4 models? Okay, Dread Pageant. The answer is yes, actually. It's Slate Slash. Slate Slash is wonderful. Okay, Slate Slash is fantastic. And the leader, what's the leader's name? I can't remember the leader's name. Right, both the leader and Slate Slash are both They both overhit their weight. What you can do is you run a Slanesh good stuff list, which is basically like if you want to run all the Dread Pageant, you run all the Dread Pageant. Then you probably, I don't want to say bring Vexmore, but you want to bring the best competitive Slanesh list. You ally Vexmore in from Demons of Slanesh, and then what you do is you bring Blissbrew Homunculi. As many Bliss Brews as you can stuff in there. Why do you do that? Because they are the cheapest chaff unit that Slanesh mortals have. And then on top of that, I think is it Hadzu? Hadzu's the archer, right? Hadzu has synergy with Blissbrew Homunculi because if I remember anyway, he's got the same ability that the Blissbrew archers have that can be used to buff his shooting attacks. So that's it, basically. You bring the Dread Pageant, you bring Vexmore. If you don't have Vexmore, don't worry so much about it. You can bring something like a Slanesh Fiend Blood. What's it called? The leader from the Slangors. That thing. You can bring that, and then Bliss Brews. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but that's basically what you do, right? Like any way you cut it, it's going to be lots of Bliss Brews. Is going to be the answer to fill out your numbers. There we go. In fact, should we do it now? Should we take a look whilst all of this is drying? What I can do a thing. Warcry. Okay, so if I... Is it going to be magic? It might be magic. Active window. Ooh. Haha! It totally does work. Okay, so perfect. Dread Pageant, right? The Dread Pageant. Okay, so here it is. What was I looking at? Oh, this is my Tzeentch list. Let's get rid of that. So Vasilak, Slate Slash, Hadzu, Glissette. It's very big. Totally a thing. Okay, well, I'll fix it afterwards. I'll show you afterwards. So those four, and then you go to... we're here in Slanesh. So what you could do, that's 620 points, yeah? Hadzu's fine. If you're going to cut someone, I would cut Hadzu because he's 115 points. The ability I was talking about was... is it Volley of Tearing Blades? No. The ability I'm talking about is... It is Volley of Tearing Blades. Yeah. So Hadzu gets to use this on a triple, +2 attacks on the next missile attack action, +1 strength when he's within 3 inches of Head Knights of Slanesh Cyberite's priest. And the only priests in the game, in that, are Blissbrew Homunculus. So you can bring Bliss Brews, and then on a triple, he goes to 5-4-1-4, which is pretty good at 15 inches, right? Pretty good at 15 inches. Then we need guys, right? Because that's 620 points. Now your options are, we could take Vexmore. Vexmore, here we go. We add Vexmore. We want to give Vexmore the +1 attack blessing, so he's actually 175 points and not 150. So that brings us up to 795 in total, and then so we need, that's 800. So we've got around about 200 points to spend. For that 200 points, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. 990. That's too many guys. 1, 2, 3. Pop. So you're running. I don't know if this comes up properly. Kind of. So you're running a 8-man warband, Vasilak the Gifted, Vexmore with the +1 attack blessing. You're running Slate Slash because Slate Slash is awesome. Look at that profile; it's amazing. And he has the right rune marks to get the bonus moves off. He has not Unrivaled Velocity. He's got this one, Slaves to Impulse. So on a double, he gets to make a bonus move action against a fighter within 6 inches. They just have to end closer. But his movement is 6, so he can always get into combat with that 4-4-3-6 profile. That's great. Hadzu, Blissett, 3 Bliss Brews. You're sitting on 8. If you're going to change this, I drop Hadzu, get something else for Hadzu. But that's a pretty good core warband based around this. If you didn't want to take Vexmore, he's 175 points. You could go... I would say Slangor Slakehorn, but you might be too many. No, you're basically 10 points over if you run a Slakehorn instead. So you need something a little bit less. Lord of Pain is not good enough. Well, Lord of Pain is good enough, but he's not cheap enough. I would take something like... you could take a Lord of Hubris. Bless up the Lord of Hubris. That would work very well. I like Hubris. He's real cool. Give him toughness, so he becomes toughness 5, and then he gets to use his pretty funky double you first, I insist. So he'll get a guy to attack him, and then once he's finished, that guy's finished attacking him, he'll do a bunch of damage. That's basically where we are. So that's it. That's what you need to do for using the Dread Pageant as a warband in themselves. What was I doing? You were being done. You were actually. I can highlight you. Okay. Very thanks much. Yes, you're welcome. You are welcome. A bit more watery. Over here. I keep naturally going off to this one side. I don't actually know why. Unfortunately. So I learned this the other day that Kindlefinger, despite having many fingers, he has no hands because he is yet a beast. So I'm going to have to think about something else for treasure missions specifically. My idea was to run Kindlefinger in, go pick up treasure, teleport away to Ephelim. But I'm going to have to kind of do it backwards with Ephelim to go get the treasure and then teleport out because neither Kindlefinger nor Apatrax can pick up treasure, unfortunately. Kind of sucks. That kind of got me excited to check out Slaanesh. Slaanesh are real good. Just saying, if you want speed, that's what they give you. They're like, I don't want to say glass cannons. They're okay in terms of the defensive stats, but they will run in there blisteringly fast. Because they're Slaanesh on a double, they get +3 to their next move action, which makes them basically like lightning, and they mostly have movement 5 or movement 6. Apart from Vexmore, of course. Vexmore does not famously not have movement 5 or movement 6. He has movement 3. But he is thematic, at least. Like, I mind less seeing a Vexmore in a Slaanesh list than I do seeing him in just like every other Chaos list. That's on my list for other things I think that Games Workshop are going to deal with. I think they're going to up the points on Vexmore somehow. Assuming they do update it, well, you know, if I were in charge of it, I'd update the points for Vexmore because I think he is too cheap for what he does. Like what he does is amazing, and the reason why you see a lot of him in Chaos Warbands is because there isn't really another thing in Chaos that does that role. He's basically the Annihilator Prime of Chaos, right? But Order have a ton of things that fit the Annihilator Prime role, especially since Reclusians have come out. Like people have liked playing the Reclusian Prime in that kind of position. But Chaos just don't have that. They don't have any 200 point or thereabout just big beat characters, which is kind of sad, but it's just the way it is. Cool. He is now pink. Very good. Now we need to make his eyeball white, and then we need to do the white on him. Not the white, the green. It's going to be green. Eyeball white. Do I do green flame or red? Oh, I've done red flame everywhere else, so it really should be red flame on this guy. So we're going to do that. White eyeball. And basically that white eyeball, I'm going to go over it with green fluorescent paint, like the rest of the eyes in this. Okay, nice. And then I want to do all these little teeth. Highlight all these little teeth. Because yes, washing does work, does all the recesses, but it's the highlight that makes it look good. Okay, cool. Nice. Now, how are these guys doing? They're doing okay. They are not dry yet, so I'm not going to touch them just yet. Alright, how's this guy? Still shiny. It's not quite. You can. There we go. You see, it's not quite dry yet, but you can see it's kind of like semi-translucent. It's got like dark bits and it's got light bits in it. And it really looks like what it's supposed to look like. But he looks cool. I like it. I like the way it came out. Very happy. Okay, right. What are we doing now? How long have we been going for? 2 hours or thereabouts. So let's see. Is there anything I can finish up before we finish? Can I highlight some of this green? Is that a thing? Do I have a green? There's the green that I need to use. This is all express color. It goes back down there. This is the green I need to use. This is not express color, but this is. Just organize myself a little bit. Purple and pink. I've also got this that I've never used. So this stuff is splash gel. It's really weird. It's like this stiff gel that you can put down on a base. And it's supposed to look like little waves and little crests of waves. And you can kind of push it around and make it look like different things. It does sink down, apparently. So that's something that I need to figure out. But yeah, splash gel, just another thing in my box of stuff. This is null oil. These three boys go back in. So, here it is. Cool. Green, lime green. Perfect. I can actually highlight. We'll do this highlighting, and then I think we will wrap up because we made a chunk of progress, which I'm happy at. Right. Okie dokie. Let's not mess up. Not the neatest, but I can wash over it and it'll fix a multitude of sins. Okay. Cool. All right, that side looks a lot better. Wow. Right, what did you do? What did you do? There we go. Just make that a lot thinner. Okay, that immediately looks better. Okay, cool. Right, a little bit dry, a little bit of highlighting there, a little bit of highlighting on upper tracks. The starfish. Right, and then on his little tail. Okay, Apertrax. Very good. All right, eyeballs, and we're done. Let's go. Like a blob of luminous green. Wow. It's not. It's not. Come on. Come on, camera. You can do it. There we go. Nice. Crazy. I kind of like it. This one. Nice. This guy I did, right? Yeah, he has his luminous green eyes. Very good. And I think that's it for the time being. Yeah, I've got like a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that, a couple of weeks left to finish all of this. So what have we done? We've done the pinks, which is good. We've done the big boy. He's finished. We have done Apertrax. We have, so he needs fire, so I need to do his fire. We've done 4 blues, so we just need to do 2 blues. We need to do Ephelim. I need to finish these little guys. And then base. That's basically it. Then we're done, right? Yes. He wants a wash. Should I do a wash? I'm here, so I might as well do a wash. No, not blue. Let's not mess this up while I'm here. I need purple wash. Here's me trying to end this stream, and yet I'm like, oh yes, well, we'll keep on painting. What's this? Velvet red. This one. I think this is one. Okay, very thin wash. Yep, thinner, much thinner. There we go, that's more like it. Alright. And once all this wash dries, I will go over again with the pink. I will do some highlights, some more highlights. Although I'm kind of digging like the crazy color. No, it's not great. There we go. I'm kind of digging the crazy color that is becoming. Oh man, Kindle finger. Cool. All right. Perfect. All right, Kindle finger. You just need to sit there and you need to dry. Do I do the wash on here? Maybe. Kind of like the color that's come out. So. A little bit. Yeah. All right. Cool. Done. We are done. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to mess around with this any longer. If I do, I will go mad. So we are done for today. Let's pack up. Pack up, I think. Thank you, everybody, for joining me and for giving me a little bit of company whilst I carry on through my task. We are almost done, which is good news. So I will do another stream next week. because that will allow me to finish all this. It may just be a basing stream next week. I'm not sure. So that'll be fun. Week after that, it will be the Thursday before I go up to UK Games Expo because I'm going up on the Friday. So maybe I do a different kind of stream. Maybe I get the boys on and we have a chat about what we're going to expect. A chat about the missions, a chat about something like that. Maybe that could be cool. Could be fun. As long as I'm finished this, that is. Like it may well be that I still have to keep on painting, and I might get the boys on anyway. So we will find out. And then after that, all bets are off. I don't have any big projects for the time being. But maybe I continue working through my massive pile of shame and try and actually finish it. Maybe that's something we do. But anyway. Oh, 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 oh. We weren't supposed to see that. Turn that off. Perfect. Good. Okay, so yes, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for joining me. I will see you guys next week, and we're gonna get this done. See you later.